History was made in Marin County this week as Marin Colbert was sworn in as the first black member of the Board of Supervisors in its 173-year history. His teenage daughter administered the oath of office. Colbert is an attorney and former San Anselmo Town Council member. He now represents District 2, which includes San Anselmo, Green Bay, and Ross, among other communities.
All right, for more on this milestone moment in Marin County, we are joined live this afternoon by Supervisor Marin Colbert. First of all, Supervisor, congratulations, and it's great to have you on here this afternoon. We see the video of the swearing-in ceremony, obviously an emotional time for you. What did that moment mean to you?
Well, personally, it meant the accumulation of a lot of hard work on the part of myself, my family, my friends, and supporters. I'm really gratified that the community has entrusted me to serve them. But certainly it's not lost on me the fact that I'm the first African-American to be able to serve the community in Marin County in such a fashion. So it was close to overwhelming, but when you've worked so hard for 18 months, on a certain small level, I thought, I've done the work. And one of the things I try and impart to my daughters, if you do the hard work and you maintain integrity, good things usually happen.
Yeah. Supervisor, your grandfather grew up in the segregated South. You have spoken about that. How did his experience inspire you to pursue not only this seat, but a career in politics and representation of people?
Well, that's a great question. So I grew up in Connecticut, and as you well noted, my grandfather grew up in Savannah in the segregated South. And my family, we would often go visit him, and we would usually go to church with him. And I just remember the look on his face of himself and his peers, and I could see the sadness of the opportunities which he had been denied, frankly, irrationally, simply because of the color of his skin. And as I began my journey on this campaign, I always wanted to be focused on the most vulnerable and the most needy members of our community. And I just made a commitment to myself and the community that I don't want to see that look of lost opportunity on the face of anyone, not just African Americans, but regardless of race, creed, or color. And so that really empowered me. And I think that really, frankly, resonated with the community, because we've all faced challenges in our life. And one of the things I've always tried to focus on is the connections that bring us together and not pull us apart.
Obviously, Supervisor, this is a moment to celebrate your victory. But there may be some people who look at this and look at your history-making win and wonder why it took nearly 175 years for Marin County to have a black supervisor. What would you say to someone who is viewing it through that sort of lens?
Well, I guess I'm a person that's 3/4 of a glass full, better today than tomorrow. I mean, part of it is, there just simply have not been a lot of African Americans living in Marin and then not running for office. So I think, things happen for a reason, and things happen when the time is right. So I think the confluence of events, which is, our society has continued to change. And I myself, I served on the San Anselmo Council for 7 years. And before that, I did 2 years on the Economic Development Committee. So I think I sort of did the necessary work and built up the necessary relationships that are required. So, I'm sort of like, what? It happened today, and I'm glad it happened now, better than tomorrow.
Absolutely. Supervisor, we certainly know there's a lot of work ahead for you and this county board. But on the lighter note, we couldn't help but notice in those photos of your swearing in and today, you represent this Hawaiian shirt every time that you make a public appearance. I have to ask about it.
Oh, well, so my wife and I moved back to the Bay Area in San Francisco after living in Turkey in 2007. And at that time, I was heavily involved in startups in the social media space. And so I would frequently go to startup and entrepreneurial conferences in San Francisco. And I wore what my peers were wearing, nice shoes, sneakers, jeans, a jacket, a nice shirt. And unfortunately, I was frequently mistaken as security and never taken seriously as an entrepreneur. And so in response to that, I just started wearing Hawaiian shirts. It was sort of my way of sort of telling people, I'm here to participate in the vibrant ecosystem. I'm not necessarily security. And so it worked, and it stuck, and it's my way of sort of dealing with the challenging situation in a fairly constructive and positive, lighthearted way.
Yeah, that certainly makes sense. And they look good on you. Supervisor, as we wrap up the conversation here, let's talk about the work ahead of you moving forward here as you move into this role. During the campaign, you promised that you will focus on Marin County's most vulnerable communities. What does that mean in terms of your priorities and the issues you want to focus on in office?
Yeah, sure. So my overarching focus is excellence. I want to pursue excellence for myself. I've got two incredible aides, Susanna and Sonia, and I want excellence for that. And finally, I want excellence from the county staff in serving our community. In terms of particular priorities, during the campaign, my first priority was preparing and mitigating the effects of wildfire. And as we see that in Southern California, unfortunately, it's something that's well-timed. And I think it's really a role that the government can step into. I also think Marin has always done a great job of articulating a value of open space and environmentalism. I think it's important that we remain that focus, but I think we need to figure out how to provide housing for our working families, particularly for our teachers, our first responders, and those who help make our communities vibrant. Yeah. And finally, I think we should always be focused on a lens of who are the most vulnerable and the most needy, from our aging seniors to our young folks. So those are my long-term focuses as I take office.
Yeah, certainly a lot of important work ahead. Marin County Supervisor Brian Colbert, congratulations again, sir. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks for the opportunity. Have a great evening.
We'll see you. Take care.